Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday here on the East Coast. Hopefully, we're having a good evening. We got a good topic here for us. We're going to be talking about identifying warning signs and that another acronym here called RAP. You'll see kind of throughout our discussions here that there's a lot of stuff that's really there's a lot of acronyms that you can kind of go through. I know we talked about STOP earlier a few weeks ago. This one has to do with having a plan, essentially. This topic is going to be if you're in that kind of really intensity of where your symptoms are, where you feel, let's say, if you're having thoughts of wanting to harm yourself, of just kind of like more of the intensity here, but the thing that I've noticed too is that regardless of wherever that is, it's always kind of a good refresher to remind yourself of triggers as well as be able to kind of have a plan for you if you feel that there's symptoms that are getting worse, right? As always with kind of everything too, if you know that you're not safe or things are kind of going on, please make sure to contact 988, the suicide hotline here in the United States. Otherwise, please reach out to your crisis response supportive area or even just proceed to the hospital if you feel you are in that immediate danger or crisis. Okay? So, let's go through this. We'll talk about warning signs, we'll talk about things we may experience when we're having a hard time, and what we want to see if we are in kind of that green flag area, that safe state of coping, is what we're trying to get to. We'll review triggers. We'll be able to kind of review some worksheets here to kind of think about our early warning signs and what you can do to stay safe, as well as kind of look at what a wellness recovery action plan looks like. So if you feel you may need a safety plan, again, if you're having, let's say, thoughts of wanting to harm yourself, we can kind of create this plan together so that you feel safe and you're aware of just kind of what your action plan is. Okay? So let's go through this. Let's pull up the worksheet and away we will go. All right, so here we are. We're at the early warning signs of, or we're at being able to identify the symptoms here, right? So, with that in mind, right, we want to make sure that we're able to, again, know when we are feeling some type of way. If we know that symptoms are going to get worse, these are going to be the red flags that are going to occur. And once we know that we feel we're safe, these are going to be the green flags that we know is going to occur. And the more we're able to kind of increase that awareness, the better we will be at trying to counter and combat the symptoms that we're experiencing, right? So let's take a look at these red flags here, and we'll talk about kind of what it means to get to kind of these green flags here. So, certain signs of worsening symptoms can include isolation, not taking care of your body, such as kind of nutrition, sleep, etc. Fighting with others, too much free time, destructive behavior, feeling stuck, lying, negative feelings expressed, such as physically fighting, hitting, kicking, punching, canceling treatment sessions, not taking medications as prescribed, too much or too little, feeling passive, feeling cynical or negative, believing in treatment is unnecessary, I can do it on my own and I don't need help, absent from work or school, never taking a day off, and racing thoughts of rumination. Now, if you're going through this, maybe some that you identify with here, right? And it's not to say that these things was going to lead to a particular crisis, right? It's just things to kind of look out for if there is something that is that's causing this, right? Like if you're feeling like you're stuck, is there a potential trigger that could be a potential sign of worsening for symptoms of this, right? And the more we're able to kind of have that self-reflection, the better we will be at trying to counter it, right? So the goal is to get over here in the green flag area to have those kind of safe signs of coping, right? And again, looking at these, it's easier said than done, right? You can take a look and say, oh, why, of course, spending time with supportive people, that's definitely going to make you feel better, right? But again, like I said, you may not have that support there to be able to do that. And that's why it's important that we're able to ensure that we can have the plan of maybe, okay, what is it that is needed for me to get there, right? So let's look at the green flags. We'll kind of go back and forth of it, of like what the red flag is and what we want to achieve, and maybe how we can get there, right? So for the first one here of isolation, obviously spending time with supported people, I think that last part there is a big one, right? You might be involved with social situations with other people, but the key is, are they supportive? Can you feel that the group that you're around at that moment is able to kind of lift you up and not, lead to the feeling of isolation, right? Not taking care of your body, and obviously the reverse is taking care of your body, right? Such as eating healthy, sleep, nutrition, all that kind of stuff is necessary. So a lot of this we can kind of relate to if it is symptoms of depression. Being able to ensure we can take care of ourselves is key. Fights with others, obviously getting along with others despite disagreements. This can be a tough one depending on kind of what the topic of discussion is. Too much free time, not enough free time, such as a structured schedule to kind of counter or provide the antidote for that. Destructive behavior, feeling in control of my emotions. That can be a hard one to get to, right? Obviously, in order to kind of feel in control of your emotions, it's not going to happen overnight. So being able to kind of build up to that part is key. Feeling stuck, feeling able to move forward is where we want to get to. And lying can lead to honesty. That's what we're trying to get to for the safety. Negative feelings expressed physically, whereas the safe coping for the green flag is negative feelings expressed with words in a kind of appropriate context, right? Canceling treatment sessions, we want to attend them. Not taking medication as prescribed, taking medication as prescribed. One of the things about the medications too, and kind of an aside from this as well, if you are taking prescribed medications, a lot of the time you may feel, oh, I'm taking this and I'm feeling better, and that means I can stop taking them. It's not necessarily the best idea. You want to make sure you're talking to your prescriber about that, because there can be those discussions to taper off. And even though you're feeling good, it could lead to just kind of a bounce back to where you were before. So always talk to your prescriber about the medication. Never kind of self-administer. Never kind of adjust that regimen unless you have that conversation with them to talk about, hey, I'd like to kind of taper off. What can be a plan for this? Advocate for yourself. If you take too much in control of yourself, it may lead to worsening symptoms. So just kind of be mindful about that. Feeling passive, why bother? Engage in active coping and coping ahead. Feeling cynical or negative, again, staying in a positive, realistic mindset. Believing treatment is unnecessary, you can do it on your own, I don't need help. Asking for help and taking help others offer me. This is a big one too, especially for us men, right? Where you feel it may be difficult to ask for those help. And it's okay. Doesn't mean you're vulnerable. It means you're able to show that sign of weakness to become a better person. Okay? Absent from work or school, attending work at school, never taking a day off, allowing yourself to take time for yourself to prevent burnout, embracing thoughts and rumination, taking things as they come, practicing radical acceptance. All key there. Okay? So hopefully you're going through this and you can identify if you experience worsening symptoms and you can pinpoint what you need to do to get into this green section here. Okay? So then there's some kind of breakdown, some ability to do these worksheets here. A lot of it is just a self-reflection. So I'll kind of leave it on here for a bit, but being able to kind of recognize if you can take that time to be able to just sit down with your thoughts and think about these things 15 minutes a day, it's going to make a big impact. So make sure we can kind of do that to challenge ourselves, right? At the end of the day, work, kids, whatever it is, set a timer for 15 minutes and just do a little self-care of your mental health, and I promise you it's going to go a long way. So we're kind of starting the beginning process of this Wellness Recovery Action Plan, or WRAP, for what it is, the acronym for it. And again, it just leads to being able to kind of have that self-reflection there. Some more of the worksheet. Again, being able to kind of think about what my triggers are, what I can do when I am triggered, and what I can do to ensure I can kind of feel safe, right? And that's where the safety plan comes in. So again, a lot of the time when therapists do safety plans, it's if a client is experiencing an increase of symptoms. Let's say that They have thoughts of wanting to hurt or harm themselves, and we would do a suicide assessment to see where they're at. And then after that, if there is no threat, we work on creating a safety plan. A safety plan is a great way to recognize and remind yourself, especially if you're kind of going through this, that if you're having those thoughts of self harm, you're able to kind of remind yourself of these things, right? It's best to do this when you're not actively in a crisis. You want to make sure that if we're talking about that DBT scale of emotional intensity again, right, the blue and red zone, that we are in the blue zone to go through these, right, because it's going to allow ourselves to cognitively think about these things. So being able to make sure we're out of that crisis is key for us to kind of fill this out. So take the time, do what you need to do to kind of ensure you have this plan and it can be beneficial for you. Okay? So yeah, a pretty quick topic here. I know there isn't too much here in regards to uh, being able to identify triggers, be able to create your wellness recovery plan, but it's important nonetheless. Um, End of the day, again, being able to kind of ensure that if you take those thoughts down and you put it on a paper and you're able to kind of reflect on it, I'm telling you, 15 minutes a day really can make a big impact. So just take that time for yourself when you can. I know it's hard. I know there's a lot going on, especially around what's happening in the world, but I know you can do this. So, yeah, continue to keep kicking butt in the world, and we're going to get there. You're going to reach your goals. Okay? Well, that's all I got. Just a few kind of programming notes. We're going to be shifting back to Let's Play with Gris tomorrow at the same kind of time around 11 ish. And then the holidays are coming up with Christmas, especially next week. So I'll try to get a few of the streams in Monday, Tuesday. I don't know about Wednesday, since that's Christmas Eve. But we'll see kind of where things lead off. I know, again, that it's going to be a little wacky. So the schedule right now is that it's on. But for right now, we'll see where things go. And if not, we'll pick it up after the new year into 2026. And that maybe can be a resolution, right? Maybe work in our mental health. So, as always, watch the videos, like, subscribe, please pass it to others. But thank you so much for being here and continue on the journey. It's never easy, but the end goal will always be there for you. Thanks.